Progressive presents the Sports Flash on Western Reserve Radio. The Pirates visit the Cubs tonight. 1-2 righty Luis Ortiz faces 1-4 right-hander Jameson Taillon. The Pirates lead the NL Central by a game over Milwaukee. The Guardians begin a series at San Diego tonight. 2-1 right-hander Tanner Bibby faces 3-2 righty Joe Musgrove. Light day around baseball on Monday. The Reds cut by the Royals 5-4 in Kansas City. It took 10 innings. TJ Friedl scored the tie-breaking run in the 10th on Jonathan India's grounder. The Royals have lost 7 straight. Pinch hitter Kevin Newman sac fly in the 9th gave the Reds a 4-3 lead, but Buck Farmer allowed a tying homer to Salvador Perez with 2 outs in the bottom half. The series continues tonight. Lefty Brandon Williamson faces right-hander Jordan Lyles. He's 0-10 this season. On the International League schedule tonight, Buffalo hosts Syracuse, Toledo at Lehigh Valley, Louisville home against St. Paul, Columbus at Omaha. For lightning fast updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of North America's most popular sports apps. That's the Sports Flash. Chuck Sanders, Western Reserve Radio.
Give a little love.
It's Macy's Friends and Family. Get an extra 30% off great gifts for him just in time for Father's Day when you use your coupon or Macy's card. And take 15% off skincare, fragrance, and more. Or shop specials he'll love while supplies last. Give love, give style, now at Macy's. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Doors take us to summers away or winter adventures and afternoon getaways. Your dedicated Fidelity advisor can help you open those doors by working with you on a comprehensive plan to help you reach your wealth's full potential. Because doors were meant to be opened. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimum supply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Mill Creek Golf Course is the Valley's leader for golfing fun with a practice range, short game area, and hole 55 bar and grill all on site. Mill Creek Golf Course features a friendly PGA professional staff available for instruction, along with 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross. Don't forget family fun night golf on Fridays and Saturdays for just $25. For details and tee times, call 330-740-7112 or go online to millcreekmetroparks.org.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and you're listening to the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Come out to the 36 beautiful hole design course by Donald Ross, and golf lessons are available by calling the team shop at 330-740-7112. Don't forget about family fun nights on Friday and Saturday evenings, a family of 4 with cart for only $25. Or visit the Wick Recreation Area and the lighted Par 3 course. Book your tee time today at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier. Then make sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my tenacious D.
And he's my son. So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Ohio who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong.
Oops.
And welcome into another episode of By All Means right here on Western Reserve Radio. It is season 4, episode 21, 138 overall, presented by Mill Creek Golf Course. Visit millcreekmetroparks.org for more information and to book your tee time today. Find us on Facebook, Western Reserve Radio, on Twitter at WR_radio. You can download the Live 365 app or TuneIn, or just go to westernreserveradio.com, all part of the iMeda1 network. As we move into the middle of the month of June, what else would we be talking about here on Western Reserve Radio but high school football? And that means my broadcast partner, Dave Clark, is on the other end of this phone. Mr. Clark, how are you today, sir?
Doing great. How are you, Mark?
You know what? We've been talking privately, you and I, for probably about a month about our schedule now. But, it's time to start taking things serious. We're, 10, 12 weeks away from the start of the season already?
Yeah, and we know how that goes. It seems like a long way away, but it absolutely isn't. And if you go around, because you already see some of the kids getting ready for this upcoming season.
I've seen some teams already out there practicing, shorts and T-shirts and helmets. And not that I'm trying to wish our summer away, because I definitely don't want to do that.
Yes.
But we still have a lot to talk about and, get ready for. And let's look back before we look ahead. The thing that I'm going to be most curious about, Dave, is I said it on the air with you, I don't know how many times last year during our games. Last year felt like the year of the quarterback in the Valley, which means now there's a lot of inexperienced quarterbacks stepping in. How do we recover from that veteran quarterback leadership being gone and a lot of youth now taking over?
Yeah, and, one of the things we did observe last year, and if just to bring back to your memory, a lot of these teams we've seen with the veteran quarterbacks, they did allow their backups to actually get some action and showed a lot of poise at times. Different teams like the South Range and other places of that nature, we've seen it. And I think we can always have that again. The quarterback is the main point of that, usually of that football team and of the offense. And I believe we will see that once again this year.
I don't know if we can ever relive what we had last year and the experience we had at Western Reserve Radio of calling consecutive state championship games. And, the fact that 2 of 3 teams, Canfield and South Range, that share a zip code, brought home state championships, and JFK came up just short. Can we live up to those expectations?
No, I mean, when we started the season, I could have never thought we would have seen what we've seen that last season. I mean, never. And to see those teams run off one week after another, it was unbelievable. And it was some great high school football.
So, yeah, it will be definitely challenged to repeat what we saw last year. And here's the thing that's interesting. I'm going to call this the year of the new head coach. Because think about it, Dave. Howland, East Liverpool, Youngstown East, Crestview, Wellsville, Lakeview, Newton Falls, JFK, Latonia, South Range, and Matthews all have new head coaches this year.
Yeah, and right there sums it up. That's a lot of new coaches in one season. I don't think I can remember a turnover situation like that. And we're talking about guys that just stepped away, because of all the years they have put in. And it's not just of being fired or anything of that nature. And I've never seen this many new coaches at the beginning of the season. So it makes everything so exciting, just to wonder what we are upon.
And let's, take it a step further. 2 of the 3 teams that won state titles, played for state titles, I should say, last year, have new head coaches this year. With Coach Rock at South Range, Coach Bunte at Warren John F. Kennedy. That's some lofty expectations to live up to.
Yeah, and some big shoes to fill, and that's the thing, the guy that's stepping in there, they have big shoes to fill, and the expectations. There's one thing about those two schools you just said. The expectations still will be the same. So they're going to look for that type of winning traditions they had, and these guys got to keep it rolling.
And it's interesting because with some of the other openings, Dave, we see familiar names in new places, and then we also see some new names we're going to have to learn. I remember Brian Jones when he played his high school ball at Liberty, and he coached there, and now he's the head coach at Howland, taking over that program this year.
Right, and I know I've been hearing some excitement about a couple people that I know that lives over that way. They're very excited about Coach Jones and just to change, just the new blood to get in there and maybe get back to their tradition, which we know they have also been a winning program.
As a former quarterback, we'll see how much he decides to put the ball up into the air. And then how about another familiar face in a brand new place, Coach Cusick, who was at Crestview for feels like forever, now is the head coach of the Potters at East Liverpool.
Yeah, and that's something. That's a move that's completely different going down there to East Liverpool. But we know he has had a lot of success in the past, and I think he can get this East Liverpool team ready to roll this coming season.
Other new coaches, East hiring and Devin Culver, a name we know from his coaching past. Dom Perry is now the head coach at Crestview. Cam Douglas taking over the Wellsville program. Derek Bush is at Lakeview. James Hogue, who's been an assistant all over the Valley, is the head coach at Newton Falls. Latonia, the Bears hiring Scott Fredericks. And Matthews replacing a legend as they hired Pat Polta to be their head coach for this upcoming season.
Yeah, and the interesting guy is all of them are interesting. But I'm looking for Coach Hogue there at Newton Falls. He has been all over this valley as an assistant and been a great assistant, and now having a chance to run his own troops. Very interested to see just how he brings Newton Falls along.
We are not quite ready to say, here is our high school football schedule, or here is the first half of our high school football schedule. But I'll say this, and I don't mind bragging a little bit. We've been working on putting this schedule together for about a month now, working with our colleagues in the media in the Valley so we don't duplicate games, so we can get more coverage to these games.
Right.
And you know what? I mean, we'll say this much. Week 1, we know where we're going to be. Week 1 on Thursday night, we will have a rivalry to start things off between Howland and Niles. These games have been close lately, and they've been very intriguing. This one is on the turf at Bo Ryan Stadium.
Yeah, and I know it's going to be another one of those games that probably will go down to the wire, Mark, and we know it's like a little rivalry in there, and it's definitely something perfect to start off our season.
If that wasn't enough, we're going to have 2 games that opening weekend, Dave. Canton McKinley and Warren Harding on Friday night, 2 old rivals that go way back getting together again.
And you know what? Do we have to say anything, Mark? You said enough when you said Canton McKinley versus Warren Harding. That tells it all right there. We know this is something that goes way back. And I'm sure they're ready to get that going to open the season with those 2 games for our broadcast team. And I love broadcasting with you, Mark. It was great getting back with you this past season. And I'm so excited for this upcoming season.
Unfortunately, Michael will not be with us for the first 2 games of week 1, but he will spend the majority of the season with us as part of the team, helping us keep stats. And, it's interesting because I want to highlight a few of the games we know we're going to do, and we're going to try something a bit different this year that we haven't done in the past. We're going to do a 3-man booth for at least one game this year. On September 1st, the Farrell Steelers will come across the border in Pennsylvania to take on Warren Harding. We will have that game on Western Reserve and Sports Radio 1240. And to kind of give you a little even more insight into that broadcast, we're going to bring in an analyst over from Western Pennsylvania,
who happens to not only be my cousin, Dave, but we have the exact same name. So I don't know how you're going to handle dealing with two Mark Meanses for one night of high school football.
Yeah, that right there is going to be tough. I'm telling you, it's rough. But anyway, Mark, this was yourself. Now I got two Marks. Now how I'm going to deal with this? I'm going to have to talk to Jim and them back to the studio and just ask for some pointers.
You know what, Mark, a longtime head coach, assistant coach, West Middlesex, Sharpsville, so he will be able to bring some expertise. And you and I may not know what he knows about Pennsylvania high school football, Western PA football in particular, but we know how good the Farrell Steelers under head coach Ant Pegues have been the last several years.
Yeah, I mean, that I'm just telling you, that is something spectacular to know. When you first told me about that, I got so excited about that Farrell Warren Harding because we're talking traditional teams that have been powerhouses in their areas. And Farrell, we know that goes way back. And to bring them together, to have them come across the border and get together at Malakoff, that is going to be an exciting night.
You know, just some other games of interest throughout the year. We'll have the Battle of Belmont between Girard and Liberty in week 2. Just got that confirmed today, so that is hot off the presses. And we'll have it's not been a traditional rivalry, but I will say it has become one over the last decade or so. We will have Poland at Hubbard on the schedule as well. What do you think about those two?
Yeah, that's going to be something there because you'll wonder, we haven't been able to broadcast, and I know even you have talked about that. You haven't had the opportunity of that. To get those two together, that should be something. And you know, people don't know, I'm close to the Hubbard area. And it seems like they have, I don't know, is it just a neighborhood running rivalry or not? But it's people that are looking towards that football game. So it's something big that's going on with that, and we will be a part of it.
And everybody knows, and I don't have to say, you know where I went to school. So Dave will do his best, like he has in years past, to keep me in line and keep me as objective as possible.
Yeah, we're going to have to. We're going to have to restrain you a lot that night to keep you on par, because I know you're going to be wondering if it's a great job, you'll let it know. But if it's not good, then we got to definitely make sure we put the reins on you, because you're going to be really into this one.
And, you know, a team we haven't seen a lot the last couple years, just haven't been able to fit it into our schedule, but we are excited. We're going to have a couple of Austintown Fitch Falcon games this year at Austintown. And, I mean, think about the last couple of days. They had a junior verbally commit to the University of Pittsburgh. They had a senior D tackle commit to Ball State. And they have one of the most highly recruited senior players in Brian Robinson, the D tackle, the D end, tight end, on that team as well. So that is a team loaded with major college talent.
Yes, they are. And he's, like you said, Robinson has been looked at many 1A schools. I mean, Division I schools have definitely been looking at him, and he's a big-time talent. And, you know, we have talked in the past that, boy, we'd love to have a Fitch game last year, and now to be able to have one is a great opportunity for us to see some great talent on that football field.
And the thing Dave and I got together, this was a while back, and I said, you know, let's think about some of the teams we didn't see last year, we haven't seen the last couple of years. So, you know, we've got the Poland Bulldogs on the schedule. We've got the Austintown Fitch Falcons on the schedule. We have the Cheney Cowboys on the schedule this year after the fantastic season they had last year. So seeing some new teams on our schedule for this year.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to see the Cheney Cowboys on there. They did have a phenomenal season last year, and see if they can, replicate that again this year. And I know it's going to be a tough act to follow, but they have been bringing in the talent, and I'm looking forward to seeing just what they have this coming season.
And you know what? We looked at last year, at least I did personally, and I said, I don't know what we have this year. I know we'll have playoff teams, especially since, you know, the playoffs continue to grow the number of teams that get in. I just don't know how far we're going to go with someone. We went all the way to championship weekend with 3 teams.
Yeah,
so who knows what this year's going to bring?
I know that I'm telling you, people just don't understand because we were wondering, well, it looks like we should be good with South Range. And then all of a sudden we had 3 in our in our mirrors that we were looking at. And it was unbelievable that we went all the way down. Now we ended up with 2, but still, just to be able to go there, broadcast 2 state championship games. I mean, you couldn't ask for more.
And I can't believe we are almost, we're not that far away from the season beginning. I know you said I've driven around. I've seen practices in the morning. I hear practices in the morning out my front door. So I know teams are getting ready. And, I think it's going to be an interesting season. There are some young quarterbacks that are going to step up and they're going to turn some heads.
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm looking at because that the quarterback is the leader of that football team in most cases, and that's where you get everything started from. And I'm very excited to see some of these young guys that we did see out there actually get this opportunity to lead these football teams. And, they got some talent that's coming back around them, and I think that's going to help them out a great deal.
Dave, we are up against the breaks. We will talk to you again very soon. More By All Means after this.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Mill Creek Golf Course is the host venue for the AJGA PGA Hope Program, 8 high school teams, and 2 collegiate teams. Mill Creek Golf Course is your Callaway certified golf club fitting facility. It was named the PGA of America's National Merchandiser of the Year for a public facility 2022. Book your tee time at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Accidents happen. That's why you need Repair That Glass. Specializing in windshield replacement and all other auto glass, we offer a full range of automotive glass repairs. Our technicians can do everything from minor chip repair to a complete replacement. Your windows don't go up or down, they can fix that too, along with custom glass work and antiques. Repair That Glass is a family-run business for over 40 years. Repair That Glass. Call for your appointment now at 330-534-3192.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
By All Means rolls on right here on Western Reserve Radio from the Palatial Gessler Propane Studios here in downtown Struthers as the sunshine fights its way through the rain here and lights up the studio. Thank you to my partner Dave Clark, who jumped in to talk some high school football with us here on By All Means, brought to you by Mill Creek Golf Course. Dave and I back together year 2 straight, 3 overall if you count, what was it, about maybe 10 years in between the times we had a chance to do games together, but always looking forward to talk to and getting back with Dave and Michael and getting some high school football here on Western Reserve Radio and on Sports Radio 1240. Diving into some more high school football news, congratulations to both Dan Yeagley and Paul Kopko, who are inducted into the High School Football Coaches Hall of Fame in Columbus. Of course, Coach Yeagley led South Range to the D5 state championship last year and stepped down after 28 years and 248 victories. Remember the night he won at 200? Jim Craven and I were there on the call for that game. He also took his team to 2 state semifinals appearances and his Raiders have dominated the NE8 conference since joining in 2019, losing only one league game under Coach Yeagley. Coach Kopko was the head coach at Lakeview, also part of this 2023 class. He coached the Bulldogs for 15 years prior to spending 11 seasons at Ashtabula St. John. Coach Kopko's teams won 8 league championships and qualified for the playoffs 7 times, and he amassed a total of 165 victories in his coaching career. More coaching news, more coaching honors for the Valley High School football coaches that I will put up against any other part of the state of Ohio for the quality of person and coaches we have here in the Valley. Former Cheney coach Ron Burtis, our very own Bob Gessler coached with him, has been elected to the High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He was the head coach of the Cowboys for 20 years. He'll go into the Hall next June. He had 13 winning seasons and won 128 games for the Cowboys, 14 City Series championships, 8 playoff appearances, and a runner-up in 1997 in the D2 state championship game. And he has coached many players to go on to play in the college and the NFL level. And I will tell you that game, that 1997 D2 state championship game, that game played at Massillon, at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon. I was part of the call. That was my first state championship broadcast. And joining the legends, John Caparanus and Harry Paytas, I was the sideline man. And our very own Dave Ferris was even part of that broadcast as we borrowed some equipment and had a parabolic microphone as part of the broadcast for that game. And that gave you the extra sound and insight into that broadcast. So congratulations to Coach Burtis. With Coach Gessler's help, we are going to have Coach Burtis on the show in the upcoming weeks. Not quite sure just yet when that's going to be. We are going to take the week off next week. We'll be back with you for the final Tuesday of the month on the 27th. We hope to have Coach Burtis on at that time. Still working on all of the scheduling for that. More high school sports news in the Valley. Austintown Fitch lineman, I mentioned this previously, Xavier Dawn has announced a verbal commitment to play D1 football at Ball State. The class of 2024 product, he's a big guy, 6'3", 260 pounds, made his commitment on social media over the weekend. Ahead of going into his senior season, had a big year last year, 44 tackles, 6.5 sacks, and 4 tackles for a loss while also forcing a fumble. The Falcons were good last year at 10-2. He chose Ball State over Toledo, Kent State, Miami of Ohio, Temple, Towson, Tarleton State, Maine, Western Michigan, Notre Dame College, and Florida Memorial. So congratulations to the Fitch D lineman, the D tackle who made his verbal commitment over the weekend to the Cardinals of Ball State. See, what else do we have for you today? The annual Jack Arvin All-Star Game, the 37th annual Mahoning Valley Coaches Association Jack Arvin All-Star Football Game was played last Thursday at the fantastic facilities at Canfield High School. And looking at some of the highlights of that game, Fitch product, Jamel James opened the scoring in the first quarter with a 7-yard touchdown, added a second 1-yard touchdown in the second quarter, giving Mahoning County the early 14-0 lead that they held at the break. The All-Stars increased the lead to 24-0 in the fourth quarter on a 65-yard touchdown catch by Alex Gersib of Struthers, who was also named the most valuable player of the game. So as we always do for the final couple minutes of this segment, we turn our attention towards Major League Baseball. And I had a chance to be at the game on Saturday as the Guardians fell to the Astros. Of course, the only game they lose in that series I was at with a couple of friends from college. And it was the largest crowd of the season. Just over 35,000 people packed into the ballpark for that game on Saturday night at 6:10. A bigger crowd than what we even saw on opening day. multiple promotions that night. There was fireworks. There were drink specials. They gave away a Tristan McKenzie replica jersey. So it was a fun night at the ballpark. The weather was good. Just didn't play all that particularly well in that game. But if you keep winning series like the Guardians are doing, things are going to turn out okay. But now things are getting challenging because after an off day last night, the Guardians have made their way to the West Coast now and will play San Diego and Arizona. Tanner Bybee on the mound tonight, 9:40 on Bally Sports Great Lakes. Former Pirate Joe Musgrove, the San Diegan, will get the baseball here in game number 1. It'll be Savali and Michael Waka, who's having a nice bounce-back season, coming up on Wednesday night. And then Thursday, a little bit earlier, 8:40 start for that game. It'll be Logan Allen and Yu Darvish to wrap up that series. And then after the 3 games in San Diego, it doesn't get any easier for the Guardians on this trip. 3 in San Diego, 3 in Arizona as they face the first-place Diamondbacks Friday night, Saturday night, and late Sunday afternoon to wrap up that 6-game West Coast trip before they come home to face Oakland and Milwaukee, 2 teams going in 2 separate directions. How about Oakland? They took 2 of 3 from the Pirates. Then they swept the Brewers. So the A's, that were on pace to have one of the worst records all time in a single season, has won 5 straight. So the Guardians will have Oakland for 3 and Milwaukee for 3. And a month where the Guardians play no games on Monday for the entire month of June. Pirates also coming off an off day as well yesterday as they begin a couple of critical road series to see how their things are going to play out in the division. They are in Chicago tonight, 8:05 for this matchup for the Pirates, as they will face former Bucko Jameson Taillon, who gets the baseball, who has struggled this year with an ERA slightly over 7. 3 straight 8:05 games for the Pirates at Wrigley. Not something you see every day. 3 straight night games at the hallowed grounds of Wrigley Field. And then 3 games against Milwaukee over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the team that they are battling for first place in the National League Central. Another Monday off. Then they will have they will play a full week set of games the following week, 3 against Chicago at home, before right back out on the road for 4 against the Marlins. So not a lot of opportunities to see the Pirates coming up here at home. So you're going to want to take advantage of those days when they are at beautiful PNC Park at home. I'll have to see a few things, with the Guardians, as we have not officially seen tonight's lineup posted just yet. Andres Jimenez left the game early on Sunday with an injury. We'll have to see if he is in the lineup. The catching situation continues to be, not good would probably be the best way to describe things, the way it's gone the last couple of games especially. And I'll tell you how bad it was. 6 stolen bases on Saturday while we were there. 6. Most of them not close. Couple of throws into center field. And a crowd that was chanting Bo Naylor's name to the point that the Guardians issued a statement the next morning on the progress of Bo Naylor and why they did not believe he was ready to take that leap yet on an everyday basis to the major leagues. To which I say it can't be worse than what we've got now. You've got a chance to work with Sandy Alomar Jr. every day to get better behind the plate. He's a pretty good hitter for a catcher. The numbers are solid at AAA Columbus. So I say, why not? You've already brought him up this year once, ever so briefly. Bring him up, let him work with Sandy. Not that I'm faulting whoever the catching instructor is at AAA, but He's not Sandy Alomar Jr. Let's be honest about that. So I don't know when we'll see Bo Naylor. Big brother Josh has been hitting the baseball exceptionally well to the point where he might be our all-star this year. Only time will tell with that. All-star voting is open now at MLB.com. Go ahead and vote your favorite players into the Fall Classic in Seattle this year. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll have more by all means.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Come out to the 36 beautiful hole design course by Donald Ross, and golf lessons are available by calling the team shop at 330-740-7112. Don't forget about family fun nights on Friday and Saturday evenings, a family of 4 with cart for only $25. Or visit the Wick Recreation Area and the lighted Par 3 course. Book your tee time today at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
To the radio play-by-play voice and our buddy back from here in Youngstown, it is the voice Fitz. Everett Fitzhugh, my friend, how are you?
Man, it feels good to hear your voice again, Mark. Everything's going well, and definitely excited to be back on the airwaves briefly for here in Youngstown.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and when I want to catch up with Youngstown sports, I tune in to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
By All Means continues right here on Western Reserve Radio Season 4, Episode 21, brought to you by our friends at Mill Creek Golf Course. Visit millcreekmetroparks.org for more information or to book your tee time today. Our high school sports show continues, and we've just got all kinds of friends popping in to say hello. Ryan Briggs, Sports Radio 96.7, is on the phone. Briggsy, you had a chance to call the Sharpsville State semifinal baseball game last night.
Yes, I did, Mark. Sharpsville making it to the state semifinals for the first time in 23 years. And unfortunately for the Blue Devils, coming up short, a 1-0 loss in 10 innings to Bald Eagle Area High School. Game was played in Du Bois at Showers Field, a facility I know that you've called a few games at over the years. Just a terrific high school baseball game. I know that you'll appreciate this reference. It was a lot like Game 7 of the 91 World Series. And even had the same final score, same number of innings. But just a terrific run for Sharpsville, getting all the way to the Final Four in the state. But, Bald Eagle able to string together a couple of hits and then a flare single to right over drawn-in infield with one out in the bottom of the 10th, sends Bald Eagle on to Penn State for the state title. And Sharpsville's outstanding season concludes in the state semis.
You look back at that game, and I looked inside the box score, and you don't always see a game that low scoring in high school baseball, but I assume you also have to consider when you get that far, you've got to have some pretty good pitching depth.
Yes, certainly, and both teams certainly had that. Each team had played on Thursday, so they had gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So everybody, they had a fully stocked, pitching staff. Again, I don't know the exact parameters. I'm sure Ohio has similar things in terms of days of rest versus pitches thrown. But the Bald Eagle starter, Tyler Serb, was fabulous. He struck out 14 men in 8 innings. And Sharpsville went with what's been working for them. They've been using Stephen Tarnosi. He's a right-hander. He's going to Mount Union. He's normally their third baseman, but he's been working kind of as an opener. He, in fact, has started each of the last 5 games on the mound. And he usually goes 2, 3, maybe 4 innings. He went 3. And then Jack Leipheimer, the senior left-hander, came in, and he pitched brilliantly yesterday, 6 1/3 innings, struck out 8, gave up 5 singles. Talk about being taking a hard luck loss. That was Leipheimer yesterday. Then Bald Eagles winning pitcher, Wyatt Coakley's now 6-0. He came on and pitched the last 2 innings because Serb had reached his pitch limit of 105. Both teams, it was, the pitchers worked quickly. They threw strikes. They didn't mess around. But all the pitchers, all 4 men that pitched, they were able to throw multiple pitches for strikes. And the big thing was they were often working ahead in counts. So there weren't many 2-0, 3-1 situations for either team yesterday. It was just a really well-played game. Sharpsville, again, errorless defense. Each of the last 5 games, the district semifinal, district title game, and then 3 state playoff games. Round of 16, quarterfinal, then the semifinal. Sharpsville errorless baseball defensively. The game they played 10 innings. It still only took an hour 59 yesterday. So the pitchers, the pitching was the story yesterday.
I find it interesting. It went from, what are these Tampa Bay Rays doing with the, using relievers and an opener to that expanding across Major League Baseball. And now we've seen that move, all across the sport now, where it's one of those where if you have an advantage with pitching, why not find a way to use it?
Exactly. And, for Sharpsville, it's worked out very well. Tarnosi being the right-hander. And then Leipheimer, he's the classic crafty lefty. He's doesn't throw super hard, but he mixes his speeds very well, has a differential about probably 12 to 14 miles per hour from his fastball to his breaking stuff. And then, like you said, especially in high school with the pitch limit, where in the regular season, I believe in Ohio, they can go to 105. It's 100 here, but pretty much the same thing. If you have your best guy, maybe if you can get, say, 2 innings out of, a good, but maybe not your best guy, and then you have your ace for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in this case, 8, 9, and 10. 10 years ago, it would have been considered, just unorthodox. And it's like, what are you doing? And now it's like, hey, that makes a lot of sense. And as you said, Tampa really starting that, and using the bulk guy, if you will, and so forth, and mixing and matching. And other teams have used it, certainly not to the level of success that Tampa has. But it worked out very well for Sharpsville. Leipheimer was ended up 3-1 with a save in the playoffs. Funny, Tarnosi came on in the first round of the state playoffs. He started, pitched 2 innings. Leipheimer came on the 3rd after another reliever had gotten in some trouble. He pitched, and then they took him out. Tarnosi, who never left the game, he was playing third base, came back in. He got the save in a game he started.
They don't see that every day either.
Yeah, I know it's one of those things it was like, well, he started and he got the save, but it was an unusual, it was something you don't see. And of course, wasn't a case where he was forcibly removed from the game, due to excessive visits or something of that sort. So he was still in the game playing third base, and of course the high school substitution rules, and where you're not limited to DHing for the pitcher like you are in college or the professional ranks. You move guys around, and they went back to their original defensive alignment in the seventh, and he got out of the jam, and Sharpsville began its state playoff journey.
And I know it didn't end the way the Blue Devils had hoped it would, but a special season, a historic season wrapping up last night.
Yes, certainly. Sharpsville, for much of the regular season, they were kind of hovering around 500, win a game, lose a game. They were in a pretty good league, certainly. They actually finished, they were the number 4 seed going into the District 10 tournament, 4 teams out of 8 in Class 2A, behind Greenville, who won the league, Lakeview, and then Wilmington and Sharpsville both tied at 11 and 5. Wilmington was the 3 seed. And in the playoffs, Sharpsville defeated Maplewood, which is near Meadville, in the first round, and then beat Greenville, who had 2 close wins over Sharpsville in the regular season, and then in the title game defeated Lakeview, who had swept Sharpsville. I think a key for Sharpsville was, early in the season, they lost their starting center fielder, Colin Summers, who had to have some knee surgery, kind of a cleanup procedure. Of course, he's a great quarterback, defensive back, outstanding wrestler also. The knee had been giving him some trouble after wrestling season, so he missed some time. He came back, and then everything just kind of fell into place defensively, and the team really took off. Late in the regular season, had a nice victory over a good Hickory team, and then got in the playoffs and went on this very nice run. I believe it was an 8-game win streak that ended yesterday. But certainly a very magical season, District 10 title, and a fun team to watch. These guys, as seniors 2 years ago, won the district title, lost in the first round of the state playoffs. Last year, West Middlesex defeated Sharpsville in what was considered a mild upset in the district title game. And this year, Sharpsville bouncing back and played its best baseball when it mattered the most.
Also some softball talk to get to. Also not what we were hoping for Jamestown softball team. They failed to Juniata 6-0 in the 3A state semifinal. But, again, just like with Sharpsville, a fantastic season.
Yes, certainly. Jamestown, it's a very so it's a unique setup there. Jamestown itself is a very, very small school. They probably graduate 35, 40 kids a year. Probably, for our Ohio listeners, probably the size of like Lordstown or Badger. I mean, it's one of those very, very small. So in softball, they co-op with Greenville. Greenville does not have a team, but a number of young ladies from Greenville play on the team. So they play up a couple of classifications. And, Jamestown, really interesting story going into the last week of the regular season. They were battling with Franklin for the league title, and ends up Jamestown played at Franklin. It was because of some rainouts and whatnot. It was Franklin's last game of the year. So Franklin won the game. Franklin would have clinched the title outright. They would have had 1 loss. Jamestown would have had 2, and that was it. It was 2-1 going to the top of the 7th. Jamestown had done nothing. Franklin's pitchers just throwing BBs in there. Franklin falls apart defensively. Jamestown gets a couple of big hits, wins the game, wins the next 2 to win the league. They get on a roll, defeat undefeated Fort LaBeouf in the district title game, and they go all the way to the state semifinals, and then ran into a really, really good Juniata high school team yesterday. But a terrific run for Jamestown. Such a small, very small school. A lot of pride there. As I say, Muskie Mania was running wild. Great year for the Jamestown softball team, getting all the way to the state semifinals, their first league title, and just really a great story. One of the players, Reese Schaller, their center fielder, she's going to Youngstown State. Their catcher, Josie Path, is going to Mount Union. So a little bit of a local tie there too on the Ohio side. But a lot of fun getting to see the Muskies this year. They'll have some graduation losses, but they'll have their ace pitcher, Miranda Biles, back. So very, very exciting in the northwest corner of Mercer County.
And, it's interesting when we talked about having you on to cover these 2 games, you mentioned the fact that Jamestown is in a co-op. And I thought, let's take a minute to talk about that, because you hear about that more on your side of the border than we do over here in Ohio. It's not something that's very common at all.
Yeah, what it is, and you see it, especially in cases where you have two small schools or a small school and a larger school, where one school may not sponsor or may not field a team or be able to any longer field a team. A prime example in recent years, West Middlesex football. West Middlesex as a school, the enrollment has just gotten so small the last several years. Just don't have enough boys to play football. So West Middlesex players, those who want to play football, they go and they play for Sharpsville. And then there's an enrollment factor, counted in and whatnot. I won't bore people with the math because math doesn't make for good radio. So that enables young men and women to be able to play a sport that may not be that isn't offered by their host school. The Jamestown Greenville softball is a perfect example of that. In football, Lakeview, PA, the Sailors, they co-op with Commodore Perry, which is about the same size as Jamestown. So CP sends some boys to play football for Lakeview, and you see it elsewhere, especially here in Western Pennsylvania, and North Central PA, where these schools that have always been pretty small to begin with are just getting even smaller and smaller. As it is, in the Mahoning Valley, there aren't many schools that are growing in enrollment. There's a few that are holding steady, but for every one that's adding a few kids, there's 10 that are losing kids. And so this is it enables people to be able to participate. It brings some communities together, and ultimately the young men and women are the ones benefiting from it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you may not be able to play a sport at one school, opening the doors of another school, and I guess those schools deserve a lot of credit for being willing to do something like that, so student athletes have an opportunity to play whatever sport they might be interested in.
Certainly, it takes two to tango, and both schools have to be willing. Because if you're the host school, now you have some students from another school, maybe a big rival in some cases. That could always you wonder, is there a little resentment? And I know, like with the Sharpsville Middlesex in football, that's gone very well. I think the biggest thing is that the young people, the kids, they handle it really well. They realize, hey, these boys at Sharpsville, these girls, wherever, they're just like us. They just have to wear different colors. The Jamestown Greenville co-op has been around a little bit longer, but again, same type of same situation. And there have been others, in the area. I mentioned Lakeview Commodore Perry. They co-op in wrestling under the Commodore Perry header. So you may have some guys that play football together for Lakeview and wrestle together at Commodore Perry. All in all, it's based on the enrollment challenges that our schools have and are going to continue to face. I don't think we're going to have a real baby boom anytime soon around here. And I think it says a lot about most importantly, the young people have been the ones that have made it work.
Rixie, thank you very much. We are up against a break. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this on By All Means.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Mill Creek Golf Course is the host venue for the AJGA PGA Hope Program, 8 high school teams, and 2 collegiate teams. Mill Creek Golf Course is your Callaway certified golf club fitting facility. It was named the PGA of America's National Merchandiser of the Year for a public facility 2022. Book your tee time at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Mill Creek Golf Course has been the Valley's leader for golfing fun since 1928. It features 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross and was voted a top 30 municipal facility by Golf Week in 2012. The Mill Creek Golf Shop is a certified Callaway Golf custom fitting center and it is stocked with your favorite golf apparel and accessories. Mill Creek Golf Course is now booking tee times for this year's golf season. Please call us at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org. Sandrock Concrete specializes in all types of concrete, driveways, sidewalks, basements, and garages. We also do stamped colored concrete in many different designs. We do interior and exterior stonework, regular brick and block work. Sandrock Concrete is fully insured. Call Jerry Sandrock at 330-506-0013 for an estimate. Also find them on Facebook at Sandrock Concrete LLC. Sandrock Concrete, where you deal with the owner all the time.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
Mark, you're 100% right. He does not get enough credit around the league. Obviously, Coach Calhoun and the assistants and the rest of the players here at YSU know how valuable he is. He is right now their best player on the floor, hands down.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Ohio, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
Wrapping up this week's edition of By All Means, presented by Mill Creek Golf Course. Visit millcreekmetroparks.org to book your tee time today. Thank you to today's guests. We talk high school football with my broadcast partner here on Western Reserve Radio and our partner, Sports Radio 1240, Dave Clark. You just heard from Ryan Briggs, my old high school football partner, current college partner, as we recap both Sharpeville baseball and Jamestown softball, their run ending in state semifinal games yesterday. Also want to remind everyone there will be no By All Means next Tuesday, the 20th, taking a week off for vacation. We will then be back with you on the 27th as we wrap up the month of June already. And we'll let you know just who those guests are going to be for the show on the 27th. Have a couple of ideas, just haven't completely finalized all of those yet. A big thank you to you for tuning in and listening today, whether it is live or in the By All Means podcast that is available on all of my social medias or on WBBW.com early Wednesday morning. Thank you to owner-operator Jim Craven, my producer and sometimes co-host Dave Ferris. Again, no show next week. This show available in podcast form. Search for By All Means on WBBW.com or follow me on Twitter at Mark_Means. Until the 27th, this has been By All Means right here on Western Reserve Radio, a part of the iMedia1 network.